Welcome to GabTalks, where we provide tools, tips, and techniques to help your life and business be easier, better, and faster. Howdy, howdy. How are you? I am Gabriella, and this is GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. Welcome to our next episode, and I am absolutely delighted and honored to bring to you guys today Mr. Kurt Roskopf. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just great. I'm liking being here at GabTalks. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me today. So, will you tell us a little bit about your expertise?
I like to come out as a master of integration. The idea is looking at people who don't have a disability and the opportunities that lay a lot of times hidden over there in the disability community, and to bring out the most in our lives by this idea of being together and being unified. So there's a lot of community organization, that a lot of marketing and communications at play and building directories. So that's the wheelhouse right there.
A lot of these folks are very capable, and people who are not in the community don't realize that they have a lot of skill that they themselves are able to do, and they often just need a little extra helping hand. How would you describe that?
The disability community taught me something. It's brought me to where I say people with disabilities are the masters of ability. When I really built a relationship with many, many people in the disability community, and they shared of their life and gave me perspective of what they do to deal with the systems, with agencies, with things out in the community, it became like an insight that I saw myself as a hindrance. I saw myself as the interference. I saw myself as the one with the disability,
Right?
because I didn't have the capability to make the most of those interactions without their help.
That's incredible. So, will you tell us about your background that allowed you to learn these things and even start out and go along this path?
Yeah, it definitely becomes a domino effect, one domino falling, making the next one possible that goes over. And it starts with my parents and grandparents being around me and influencing me. They're parts of Knights of Columbus, Ladies of Columbus, Lions Club, Lioness. And so this brought me into a particular insight with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then some people know about Lions International and the work in the blind and visually impaired community. And then I grew up into water skiing. My brother has influence on me, and he brings me into a water ski club that puts on ski shows. A few years into the club starts to team up with an agency that works with adults with disabilities. And it came forth that we, even today, still take this organization once a year, water skiing, adaptive water skiing using a sit ski. And then another thing, out of high school, I got an Optimus International scholarship. So with this scholarship and learning about Optimus clubs, come to learn that they have a tremendous scholarship contest for students who are deaf or hard of hearing, so a communications contest to win a scholarship. So it's in this way that whether it's people with physical disabilities, the deaf community, blind community, people with physical disabilities, separate things give me deeper insights into the disability community.
And now today, your work is pretty much entirely focused on lifting up people in the community and yourself being lifted up.
Yeah, and that last part you said there, myself being lifted up, that really is where I'm following that lane. So people with disabilities here in the USA, we say represents 1 in 4 people. 1 in 4 people in our population we identify as being part of the disability community. So that means 3 out of 4 of us not in the disability community. And so that's actually my focus. It's an interesting thing being in disability advocacy. But I say I'm hoping people can recognize that the grander part of my work is serving people who are not in the disability community, so we can all talk about this, and that how can we do this better together to be more capable to build our lives that people with disabilities are participating with us.
Absolutely, because, a lot of people don't know how to have the conversation and they get very uncomfortable. And, They start saying things and then they don't know if they're saying the right thing. And then they create a distance in space because they don't know what to do. So having someone like you to bridge that is really, really critical for the rest of the people that are not in the disability community. So I want to ask you, and I know how you're going to answer this because I've heard this story. You talk about how this was laid on your heart and made such a huge difference in your path. Tell us about your influence and inspiration.
This agency set the foundation. They got me involved in something called People Can't Wait, and there can be wait lists. And so it became a legislative thing to say, hey, what can we do that people are waiting for services? And there was this event to talk about this with legislators. So we go to this legislative breakfast, and I met a lady by the name of Charlotte and talking to her a little bit about what I do. And then she's like, because I added in there that I like technology and I like websites and I like things with online activities, she connected that with her son. And so she's like, would you like to meet my son? And I'm like, absolutely. And so here comes this fine gentleman coming over in his power wheelchair, and we have a nice little talk and introduction. And after a few minutes, he's like, would you like my business card? I'm like, absolutely. So he reaches into his fanny pack and he pulls out actually a couple business cards. Now, this is a man that happens to have spastic cerebral palsy. He's a power wheelchair user, and he's got two businesses: website design, computer graphics, and a DJ business. And we kept in touch, and from there it budded a friendship from that event, where then I shared with him a little bit of the water skiing stuff, which then he became a part of. Another step in this. So here he goes for physical therapy, under that routine of that schedule. And in one of his visits, he meets a gentleman by the name of Adam. So really, he introduces us to this Adam, which I come to know that he is a captain with my team Triumphs. So he's a part of like endurance events, like triathlons, duathlons and stuff. So Chad and I are thinking, hey, maybe he wants to cross train over on the water skiing side. And sure enough, so Chad and I construct an opportunity with our show director where Adam would be our guest. And actually, Adam would debut a tremendous opportunity that builds off of what we're just talking about, because we have a once-a-year event that is designed to function well with people with disabilities, and it's a separate event. So now we're talking about building into this where it doesn't have to be a separate event. Just come do what we're doing, which is putting on a water ski show. So we set up the sit ski and we're all ready to go. The president of the club and another board member of the club come over to me. So now what's ensuing is what the disability community taught me is a nuance where that'll happen all the time, where this is his business and they're coming to me to talk about his business, basically telling me that he's not going to ski. So this is the rub, where I'm like, okay, now I'm having my friends that I love dearly talk to me about, we have the sit ski ready to go. We've been doing this for decades, and now we're going to bring this out in the public. And the one comment that really gripped me was when my friend said, well, if he skis, everybody's got to ski. I'm hearing this. And so my mind is like, I've heard this before in the realm of precedence, but in my mind, like you say, it laid on my heart. I'm in this to the point where regardless to the consequences, to me, we just need to take these steps, because if we don't take these steps, we're never going to turn a corner that what we do is for everybody rather than just 75% of people. I woke up the next morning and talked to my wife and daughter and said, am I like alone here? Am I like the only one? And then they shared with me it bothered them too. And we became a family that said, we're going to make a statement and we're going to build this mantra. Doggone it, water skiing is for everyone.
And so many other things out there are for everybody. And there are many people in the disability community proving every single day that that is true. Hello, awesome listener. Thank you so much for joining us today at GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. We're going to take a short break and say thank you to our sponsors. It is through the generous support of these sponsors that we are able to bring to you these amazing experts that are sharing their best tips for your success. So please listen to what our sponsors have to say, and hopefully they're going to inspire you that you're going to click their links and go support them.
This is Tony Stark-Polici, copywriter, marketing consultant, and author. And I have a question for you. If you could take $20 and turn it into 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, would you do it? Well, you can. And it's not through gambling. It's not investing in the stock market. It's by buying this book. That's right, my book. This was voted number 9 out of the top 100 best copywriting books ever written, and I wrote it for you, for business owners, to help you write better emails, better sales copy, better advertisement, to communicate better in all of your marketing and business communications. This book will change your business and your life. Try it. You're going to love it.
Global Prosperity Academy, GPA, is a community of like-minded individuals that are heart-centered and mission-driven, focusing on high-level communication training, leadership development, and strategic community building. Take a look at the video in the link below and see how GPA is right for you. So we've already been giving some advice in a maybe roundabout kind of a way, because I think understanding this community and being able to be adaptive is really critical to everybody's success and expertise across the board. I would like to know if you went back and talked to your younger self, when you were in high school, in college, and starting out, what one piece of advice, one tip would you give yourself?
It's a little message about faith. Once in a while, you can surprise yourself what you can get done if you give yourself a chance.
And what I'm hearing you is saying is keep the faith and always be resourceful.
Exactly. That's right.
Absolutely.
The old one thing at a time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's really, really inspiring. We're going to be coming pretty close to the end of this conversation. So before we do, what other tips and advice would you give to people out there that are entrepreneurs, business owners, that are reaching for their next level of success and expertise?
Well, I'm going to reach to what I did to cross train a little bit. I'm talking all about water skiing. So let me segue over to rock climbing. I went to a rock climbing group, and they were growing from the beginning, a rock climbing program. And so I had the opportunity to be in their review meeting about how to do this better. And what happened is one of the athletes with the diverse ability athlete, so an athlete with a disability, he spoke up to us. And when I say us, he's talking to the able-bodied volunteers and so forth. He's like, it's all great that you can come here and know this is this step, like know the recipe for a rock climbing experience and can talk somebody through it to like, go ahead and do this next step, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I just recommend that maybe you back up a little bit and you think about, when people show up to do your thing, quote unquote, your thing, that you might overstep to the point of where he's like, I get to a point where I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I'm the man with a physical disability. I think I've got a pretty good idea that even though this is rock climbing, I do my things every day, every hour, all day long. Maybe there's a little bit of something where I can be a part of the exchange too, and give a little bit of a message about what this is going to look like versus your training. It's good that you're prepared for that. So I guess that's the tip. Is to really be in that curiosity dialogue and to go ahead and, have some questions, to not, rule out that you're missing something. But always look for what might you be missing, and think that person or the people you're with, are the ones that are going to make sure that this is going to happen the best way possible.
And truth be told, that's how we should be working with every person, regardless of where they are. So often we want to just jump in and do all of it and tell them how to do it and not work together collaboratively. And I know personally, I have done far better in my life and in my business when I work collaboratively with people, regardless of where they are in their life. On each episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts, we like to highlight a hero sponsor who is a business that chooses to highlight a do-good organization in their own community that is bettering the world. Today's hero sponsor is...
Hello, world. This is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer, and I am also a consultant from Z World Webs. Today, I want to highlight the Spiro Foundation, because this nonprofit organization is truly dedicated to arresting the spread of human trafficking. This includes prevention, education, recovery, and of course, technology. If you would like to learn more about the Spiro Foundation, please visit their website at www.spiro-foundation.org. And again, their website is www.spero-foundation.org, to which Spiro is Latin for I hope. Or you may scan their QR code. The link can be found in the show notes. So with that being said, my name is Z from Z World Webs, and let's develop a website Z World is waiting for. Thank you.
So Kurt, if I wanted to reach out to you, I know our audience really should be reaching out to you. Where can they find you?
Well, I do have, as we talk about electronic business card, I do have that, which has a list of links. I'm pretty findable. I do shows, and I have a lot YouTube and Twitter with the Happy Neighborhood Project. I do Happy Business Networking on Clubhouse. So I got a Clubhouse profile. But basically the electronic business card with this show is great way to reach out to me.
So we'll have the link to your digital business card in the show notes and in the description. We will also put links to some of your social media. I know you are involved with 2 or 3 different YouTube channels. So we'll make sure all of that is in there so people can reach out to you. And I know you don't have a traditional offer. We often ask our experts if they have an offer, but what I think would make a lot of sense is if somebody wants to know more and understand more about how they can participate in the disability community, they can go to your digital business card, find the contact, and reach out to you.
Yeah. And then also, if there's people with disabilities out there that think that they could be my next master of ability and, help me on my crusade here, I would love that help as well. If somebody out there would be willing to offer that to me.
Absolutely. And one of the things when I first met you, which we didn't really touch on today, but I do know that when I first met you, part of what drew you into the business side of this is becoming the US ambassador to the Disability Channel that's out of Canada, because they do a lot. And I know you have taken on the mantle and have really spread a lot of knowledge in the US and Australia and Europe and across the world, because this was laid on your heart to bring this message out to the rest of us. So I want to absolutely thank you so much. Before I wrap up, is there anything further that you would like to share with us?
Well, you mentioned the Disability Channel, the disabilitychannel.ca. I do a radio show out of Milwaukee. I was inspired to also do television. I didn't do anything with it, but then happened to a couple of years ago find the Disability Channel. So I give a lot of credit out there to Jay Stoyan, who founded the channel. And I got into that specific application because in my life, I say it basically is about 100 different agencies, organization, contact points that I plugged into and went to meetings for. And the thing I found pretty routinely is that marketing is the Achilles heel of a lot of these groups. You'd have 6, 8, 10, a dozen people getting together, and they're doing a lot of great stuff at a table or on a Zoom session. And then all of a sudden, it's like there's difficulty moving it forward into the community. So marketing is where I think we gotta, get something going here so that these nonprofits can really ignite the great work that they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Kurt, thank you so much for joining me today and allowing me the opportunity to interview you guys. The link for Kurt's digital business card is in the show notes. His social media will be in the show notes in the description. Reach out. He's got such a wealth of information and knowledge. He is absolutely somebody that you want to have a conversation with. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to set the reminder so that you know when our next episode is airing. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope you got value today. We want to give a huge shout out of gratitude to our contributors. Please make sure you click the subscribe button below and don't forget to click the bell up above to get reminders when we add new content.